We had an opening come open today.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I want to talk to Larry Mitchell.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So
I'm ready to talk.
Yeah, man.
Testing 1, 2, 3. You make me sound like Darth Vader. Deep.
I am your father.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, when I was coming up with guests, Larry Mitchell,
Yes.
you are one of the guys that popped in my mind.
Oh, thank you.
And I got to tell you, man, you know, your reputation precedes you, brother, because you are not only an outstanding performer,
Thank you.
you're an outstanding producer, outstanding engineer.
I try.
You know,
I
I mean, hey, bro, big fan.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you being on another episode here of Sitting In with Thomas Claxton,
Okay.
live from the Gator Cases booth at the 2020 NAMM Show.
Cool. This is a pretty cool room. 'Cause
It's pretty sweet,
It's
huh?
crazy loud out there.
It is, man. You know, come in here and you might actually get some peace and relaxation for a little while.
You put a couch in here.
But that's, you know, unless we get like too risque with the questions. I mean, you just never know where this is
Okay.
going to go.
All right.
You know, but what do you think about this madness, man? Look at this.
This is good. This is my, I've been to NAMM. I've been coming to NAMM since 1981.
Wow, really?
I was in high school. And at first, I remember where it seemed like, it's kind of dying down. But it seems like now, for the last 5 years, it's been growing.
It's been growing.
It's
100,000 people
On
at
Friday
the
and Saturday.
2019 NAMM Show.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the last number that I heard.
Yeah.
Now whether that was all in one day, I don't know.
No.
But
Well, I think it's like 100,000 people a day.
yeah,
Well, I guess for people
crazy.
register for the whole weekend,
That's
so you get
insane.
100,000 people today on Friday and Saturday.
Absolutely.
I live in a small town in Alabama now, and I used to live in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Wow.
That's more people than both of those towns together, both those cities together.
So you're a small town guy.
Small town, originally from Brooklyn, and then Far Rockaway, Queens. Park Slope, Brooklyn, and Far Rockaway, Queens. Small towns.
Are you small town now because of the Brooklyn upbringing?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, we always make a joke, because I live in Georgia, right in Savannah.
Oh,
and,
okay. I've been in Savannah.
Oh,
a couple
yeah.
of times.
Savannah.
Dude, I'm in Opelika.
Oh, okay, you're not too far.
Near Auburn, the whole football rivalry thing going on.
Absolutely. But we always joke because, we always see the Northerners coming down into the area, especially when they're ready to retire.
Yes.
They spend the entire time doing their thing, and all of a sudden, one day somebody just wakes up and goes, you know what? I'm tired of this big city stuff.
Yeah.
Can't do it anymore. It's too noisy. It's too fast-paced. Where are we going to go?
Yep.
You guys
That's
go
my
south?
family. They were all born in the South and then moved to New York and had my generation, and then my grandmother's generation started moving back to the South, and then my mom's generation started moving back to the South, and my generation moved to the South.
That's awesome.
Even though we weren't born in the South.
No. At least any of them moved to Florida?
No.
No, okay, good, because, we don't consider that a southern state anyways. It's down there, but,
All right, we got to talk about that a little later, but I'm curious about that. All right.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, dude, I tell you, as an artist, you've played with a ton of great artists. I mean, Tracy Chapman,
Yeah.
Billy Squire.
Absolutely.
And
Great.
didn't you do something, God rest his soul, with Rick Ocasek?
I did a record, Rick's third solo record. Rick was a wonderful person. Rick and Paulina were absolutely wonderful people. And Nile Rodgers produced that record.
Really?
Yeah, it was great.
What was it like being in the studio with
Oh, it was cool. I learned a lot that later on I started, that helped me with production. Niall was the producer, but I would play a solo, and Rick would go, "Oh, that's great what you did," and he would hum a part, and I was like, "Did I play that?" And he picked out like little key phrases in the middle of a flurry of notes.
Sure.
And he's like, "Oh, do that again, do this," and but all stuff I'd done. But he heard it. He edited live what I was doing.
Wow.
And then helped me put together like cool solos. And it taught me a lot. And when I produce now, I produce a lot of singer-songwriters. I find myself going back to doing stuff like that. Like,
the way you were taught.
Just listening to them and going, "Oh, wait, I can live edit, chop off sections so I can phrases, whether lyrics, piano parts, drum parts, bass lines, guitar parts, it doesn't matter." But I learned that from Rick.
Oh, that's awesome. It's something you picked up and carried with you, and it's obviously impacted your entire career.
It's you can learn a lot if you're just open to listening.
That's very true.
Every time, you can learn something from any. I play guitar, you play guitar.
Sure.
Anytime you meet someone that plays guitar, you can learn something from them, whether they're just started or they've been doing it forever.
Absolutely.
And then the same thing with music. When someone says something kind of wise, you have to stop for a second and go, "I never thought about it that way. I got to file it away and start to use that. Put that in my drawer of goodness." So
absolutely. Kenny Olson was a guest a little while ago. Do you know Kenny?
I know the name.
Kenny's the founding guitarist for Kid Rock, and he was talking about how music is the universal language.
Yes.
And it's all about the message and what it does for you and what you're taking with you down the road.
Yeah.
But it's something that it's the one thing in the world that doesn't divide people. It brings them together. Now, we might disagree on what types of music we like and everything like that, but it's unimaginable without music, and the experiences and people. I don't think sometimes people that don't perform understand what the industry and the business of it is all like and things like that. But when you're an artist like yourself, to go through those experiences and be sitting there with guys like that in the studio, working with them as a producer and an engineer and an artist, that's something you'll take with you forever.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Now Tracy Chapman.
Yes.
I got to mention that because I'm a big Tracy Chapman fan.
Probably the best acoustic guitar player consistently at doing her thing that I know of.
I would agree. Incredible.
Just watching her night after night and even warming up or sound checks and stuff like that, she plays with the same articulation. I don't know if I've ever heard her make a mistake. It's just, it's almost robotic, but it doesn't sound robotic. But it's just like the accuracy is scary. It really is scary.
Always consistent, always on.
It's always on. It's just like, it makes you go, wow, I need to practice. I can mess up and get out of it by improvising and doing things around and stuff like that. But she didn't do that. She didn't mess up. She just.
I get what you're saying, man. When you say I need to practice, that's funny because that's why I play New York. I go to New York all the time, only to be humbled. It's the truth. I walk in there and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I thought I was okay, but you know what? This is something else. Walk into the Village and just watch some of those guys playing, and it's like, okay, I got a lot of work to do. You on the other hand, you're. Come on, bro.
I do my thing. I can do my thing,
yeah,
but I got plenty of stuff to practice.
Yeah. Well, moving on from those artists that you play with, your own stuff. As I tell you, there was 2 albums of yours that I remember. I remember The Traveler.
Okay, cool.
I loved it. I thought The Traveler was great. I had Reflections.
Yeah.
And Every Day were 2 incredible songs on that album.
Thank you.
And I'm telling you, man, I love your stuff. Seriously, And I remember what was the other song that I remember now? Synchro Destiny wasn't on that album, though, was it?
No, that's on Sonic Temple.
Sonic Temple. Yeah, that's good stuff, man.
Wow.
That's all incredible stuff, because I go online, I find the stuff, I go research artists, and you and I actually met. Got to give a nice shout out to Randy Fuchs.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because that's where we met the first time.
Okay.
It's one of those passing by things. You wouldn't have remembered me for
Artistrelations.com.
Artist Relations.
It was the Nashville one, right? Summer NAMM?
I believe it was Summer NAMM that time, But yeah, and back then it was his gear preview that he did.
Yes.
Now it's the Endorse Expo.
Yes.
But I met a lot of great players at that event. And, it's friendships and things like that I've kind of taken with me, Where do you see the business going right now, man, when you're seeing all this stuff around you?
The instrument side or the playing side?
Both. Let's start with the instrument side.
Oh, the instrument side. It's never been a better time to be a musician, I think.
Agreed.
You can make a record with your phone.
That's insane, isn't it?
You can make a good sounding record with your phone. An iPad, a laptop. There are audio interfaces now that are just, that have USB outs that plug into anything that rival some major studio stuff. Again, it always comes down to the person with the ears. The good engineer could make something with a cassette sound really good.
That's true.
But now, I mean, you could do stuff at home. You can learn if you don't know how to do stuff. You can learn how. You can call up a video on YouTube. How do I apply compression to a vocal?
And it'll give you step by step.
You can start. I mean, it's a great start. I could, if we had time, I'd tell you about making my third record where I had to learn how to engineer, and I'd call friends. I called so many great engineers and producers. Go, hey man, I'm recording in the basement. It's just one of those situations where I needed to do another record. I had been signed to 5 labels before. I wasn't signing another record deal. And a friend of mine said, here's the keys to my house. Go make a record. He had all his gear in his basement.
That's awesome.
Put it together, you can use it. Except that I had only been the guitar player side of the glass. Not, I had a 4-track, but nothing like elaborate as this. And I was calling people going, hey man, so I got a LA2A here. These connections are funky. What's going on? I call people that put major artists on hold to ask them how to hook up compressors and how to do this. And everybody stopped what they were doing and gave me great advice.
Oh, that's great.
And then I made a horrible record because I wrote horrible songs in that one. But the second record after that, I made another record trying to fix that. It was one of my favorite records, my acoustic record, Escape. And I really learned a lot more about engineering on that than in anything else. And then obviously that carried over to learning how to engineer by producing singer-songwriters and going, how do you get stuff to sound good?
Sure. Well, and not to get off the subject, but how many solo records have you actually released?
Solo records, 9.
9.
My first record, solo record, came out. It'll be 30 years old in April.
That's awesome. 30 years ago, really?
30 years ago.
Man, dude.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago, though.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
But yeah, so nowadays you can buy some little gear. You could spend a lot of time reading manuals. You can call people, because a lot of people, especially in Nashville,
that's right.
Your neighbor has a studio too. Everybody. But
true.
You can YouTube stuff. You can buy great quality microphones that are, you can get good sounding stuff and build your experience doing it for not a lot of money.
Well, back in the day, we were kind of at the mercy of the label. Nowadays, not so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we were just talking earlier about the industry and the control being back in the hands of the performers these days. And that's why when you say it's never been a better time to be a player, well, I get it.
Business-wise, it's a little funky. Where do we go? How many streams? People are posting like, I got 60,000 streams. I almost want them to post how much money that is.
Yeah.
Because people see that and they go, oh, cool, musicians are doing well. And like,
not really.
That's like 50 cents.
That's right. It's not much.
It's great. I'm happy that people, are getting streams and stuff like that. But I don't know if the rest of the world, the non-music world, understands that's good and we need more support. But that's not boasting, saying I'm doing well and I'm buying a Ferrari.
No. No, it's definitely not. And the thing is, when actors do movies, if it's a successful movie and they're getting tons of stuff, you rest assured they're probably getting paid.
Yes.
They are. So what's up with these musicians?
I think it's right now that the value of music is not high. The respect and the value of music. And people listen to music, part of it is that it's everywhere. You go in a restaurant, there's music on. You're almost annoyed about it because you went to a restaurant and you like one type of music and they're playing another type of music. You go to a bar and there's a band on that you didn't expect. So therefore, when you have a concert, a festival with artists that you want, and people go, why are the tickets $300, $400? It's because they want you to respect it, and everybody's like, there's music everywhere. And there's music that you like and you want to see, and some people make you pay for it a lot. And there's music that you weren't expecting, and sometimes you really appreciate it, but a lot of times people just, it's like, oh, it's music, okay. So it shouldn't be background music.
Let's just cut it all off, give them a period of time with no music, and then make them appreciate it again.
That might not be a bad idea. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't know what the answer is.
Let them come beg us. How about that?
I think if you pull music out of a lot of things, people go,
it's unimaginable.
What's different? Because it's the soundtrack of our lives.
Absolutely.
So.
Music, especially if you look at an individual and you just listen to what they're listening to, you're pretty much listening to one of the descriptions of their life.
Yes.
And everybody's got a different thing that they like.
Sure.
Personally, I'm a progressive rock fan.
Okay.
I like that kind of stuff as far as bands go. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to solo stuff, I love the acoustic, just the guy in the acoustic, man. I love that, or the girl in the acoustic.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, I was really into Harry Chapin and Jim Croce and people like that. That stuff just really moved me. But then when you go away from the solo stuff, I was turning on like Supertramp.
Okay.
And things like that. I got into Styx and bands like that. And I loved it. And a lot of that describes who I am as a person.
Nice.
And like I said, every individual's got different things. Who inspired you?
Oof.
I know it's probably a lot, but if you had to pick...
I grew up on a lot of different music. I listen to a lot of different music now. I'm a huge Prince fan.
Oh, I love Prince.
Huge Prince. There have been a few artists that stopped me in my tracks
and
changed my life. Prince, Eddie Van Halen live. Oh. Someone took me to a Van Halen concert, and I was like, what's going on here? And I was actually going, this is what I want to do. I want to do that. And then Nile Rodgers from Chic, because when I realized that he was on all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because you listen to, Nile's had some moments where that's all Nile on the radio.
Totally.
Every record on the radio is Nile. It's like, oh, this guitar sounds like Nile Rodgers, and it is. And Dinah Ross record, or it's, just tons of records. But and then I'm trying to think. I'm a big Peter Gabriel fan.
Oh, In Your Eyes, one of my favorites.
Sure.
I love that stuff.
Because I started producing a lot of female singer-songwriters back in the late 90s, I had to listen to Tori Amos, and I really dug her. And then I had to stop because I didn't want to produce people to sound like that, because you don't want to steer it to to rip it off.
And that's
or
what
anything
happens.
Like that. But then I'm on my third. All I can say is I'm on my third Tori Amos kick, where I've been listening to almost nothing but Tori Amos for the last 5 months or so.
It's amazing.
It's great. I have every time I go back, the second time and now the third time, it's a seriously newfound respect for Tori Amos. And now she's got that great band with Matt Chamberlain on drums and John, I can't think of his last name, on bass right now. But she's got a great trio right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're talking about when you went to see Van Halen.
Oh, yeah.
And you knew that's what you wanted to do?
1982.
And you were like, wow. See,
I didn't know what to expect. Someone said, you need to go to a rock concert. I'm like, what's the difference? I went to that and I was like, oh.
Well, innovator. No doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie, come on. Now I tell you what the band that I got that out of was Rush.
Oh, yeah. I was in a Rush at the same time. Well, right after that, my first rock band, I was in a Rush tribute band.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll share. I don't want people to look it up, but I'll share. Someone posted a video recently because of Neil Peart. But yeah, we did 40 Rush tunes.
Oh my God! And that stuff's not easy to do.
Not only is it not easy to do, but there's no women in the audience when you then.
That's true. No, it's still the truth.
So we had to do Police, Triumph, and Zebra to get women to come out to the shows.
I went to see Rush on their R40 tour.
Okay.
And I'm standing not too far from the stage, and I remember they're watching Getty, and he's got the finger on the bass strings, and he's just going off on the bass. He's got the other hand on the keys.
Yeah.
He's got his foot on a foot pedal, and he's singing at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that guy's a machine. There's no way that. And so I was inspired by that kind of stuff, growing up. I loved it. Now, as far as your music goes, you won a Grammy Award.
Yes, but I won a Grammy for producing and engineering.
Right.
Other artist.
Right, but that's okay.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Hey, that's all right. Tell us about that. How did that come about? Who was the artist?
When I lived in New Mexico, I ended up doing lots of Native American world music as well as singer-songwriter. And it's actually kind of cool because I don't want this to sound weird. I'm not trying to brag, but in New Mexico, I didn't do a lot of my shows. I did 14 of my shows in 10 years. Of my shows in 14. But
how did that happen?
But I'm the largest single award winner in New Mexico Music Awards for producing and engineering.
How many have you won?
A lot.
A lot.
And I won the Grammy there for producing and engineering. A lot of Native American world music.
And didn't do much of your own shows?
No, in fact, I was there for a few years, and Ibanez had sent me on a Scandinavian clinic tour, and I found myself signing copies of my first record, and people go, when are you going to do another record? And I was like, where did you get this? It wasn't even supposed to be sold out of the United States. Record business.
Wow.
So I went back and I started working on Sonic Temple, but that was like over a long period of time. And then I also taught producing and engineering at the College of Santa Fe. And so 2 of those songs were projects I had to do to get my students to learn editing. So like one of them is like some Dennis Chambers loops that has like 2,000 edits in it. So I was like, after a while, I was like, I have enough songs to do a record. So that's awesome. Where In Sync with Destiny and that whole bit, it's like. Any
new projects coming out for you?
I'm working on it. I'm behind. I need to do the Forever Christmas record that I'm promised to do forever. And then another acoustic record, because Escape, that acoustic record I made in my friend's basement,
sure,
is probably my most popular record, actually. So I need to do the second part of that, and then I need to do another electric record. So, and everybody's doing EPs these days because I love the album format. I'm not sure if people have enough patience to go through an album. So it's almost better if you do, for some people, it's almost better if you do an EP at least once a year, if not maybe 2 in a year.
Sure.
If you're touring, you might want to do 2.
Yeah, well, that's good advice. That's definitely good advice. Now, do you think people still like to buy the physical product?
And when I tour Europe, people still do.
Yeah.
Here it's hard because I run into people that come up to my merch table and they go, hey, I just bought your record, or I got your record on Spotify. And I'm like, okay, cool. And they go, what else do you have? Because they want to support.
Right.
So I sell yo-yos. That's not a.
You have to be clever with merch.
Yes, that's not a sign for anything else. I actually sell yo-yos, old-fashioned yo-yos, no USB port, no screens, no nothing.
That's awesome. I love it.
I sell shot glasses, even though I don't drink. They're popular because people collect them.
But they buy them.
Yep, and I actually, if you play in clubs, I got a tip for you, but I'll tell you later.
Okay.
And then I sell coloring books.
I want a Larry Mitchell coloring book.
I'll get you one.
I want one immediately.
I do a lot of stuff. I work with a lot of kids with autism that play music and stuff. And so every now and then somebody comes to a show, and the coloring books are popular then. And they're actually popular. Coloring books and the yo-yos are both popular with young kids and adults, too.
My friend, that just shows what kind of person you are. Seriously. To have that sort of thing there, to take that in consideration. I mean, sure. that's a really cool thing.
Well, there was a kid that came to one of my shows, and he was 7, and he had a really good time, and he wanted something at the merch table. Some areas I go, I have a lot of stuff at the merch table, but nothing was kid appropriate. I mean, his grandmother bought him a T-shirt; it dwarfed him. He bought a CD. I said, "Does he have a CD player?" She goes, "I don't think so." But he wanted it. We got him a picture. We got him picks. We got him drumsticks. We got him everything. He still wanted more stuff. And I left there going, I want to have something, even if I carry just a handful of something that a kid might come up and want. And I went from Seattle to Phoenix, and this couple came, and they gave me a couple of yo-yos. And I go, wow, this is awesome. And that led to the whole yo-yo thing. So my yo-yos are made in Phoenix, actually. They're wooden yo-yos. And the coloring books are made here in America, in New Mexico, and Maryland. And
you are now the king of merch, brother.
No, I just want stuff that people, can. So people come up and go, "I bought your record, but what else you got?" Because they do want to support.
I would love for someone to walk up to me and go, "I bought your yo-yo."
Yeah.
That's awesome. See, What I used to take like the flyers and stuff for the gig. I put them in a frame. If I broke guitar strings or anything like that, I'd put the broken strings inside the frame.
Oh, nice.
So people would think that they got something from the show, that sort of thing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, but I mean, but then they would sell. You know, I mean, other than that, I mean, I've stuck with the standard stuff. You know, but yeah, man, you got great ideas for that, man. That's awesome. You know,
I think we have to be creative.
You definitely do. I mean, I haven't gotten that creative with merch. That's awesome.
I remember in the 90s, record companies were kind of scrambling because in Japan, I think record sales dropped in Japan because you could rent CDs. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember reading something about that.
You could rent CDs in Japan. I'm pretty sure it was Japan.
I mean, why not? They rented movies.
So that's when record companies would start making for Japan and Europe only would be like a thicker CD that had the DVD of all the music videos in it.
Oh, okay.
And interviews and stuff like that. And so, but you couldn't rent that. You'd have to buy it to get that part. You could rent the CD, but you couldn't rent that part.
I'm old-fashioned. I still like to go shopping.
Sure.
I like to put my hands on a physical product.
I meet lots of people like that.
And you know what? When it's time to get an autograph, there you go.
Yeah.
You can't autograph my Spotify.
But you can autograph a yo-yo.
You can autograph a yo-yo. And you know what? That's the perfect line right there. You can't autograph my Spotify, but you can autograph my yo-yo. That's the perfect wrap-up for our podcast here, my friend.
Okay.
You are an incredible person.
Oh, thanks, man.
And,
just hanging out.
No, man, seriously, I can't wait to hear you play again. And from the time we met in Nashville at Randy's event up until today, you are awesome. So I do appreciate you being another guest here on the Sitting In with Thomas Claxton podcast. We got to give a big shout out to Gator Cases as they're displaying these new Frameworks podcasting stands here.
I need one of those actually for my state. You know, I do a Facebook Live every Tuesday. I've been doing it for over 2 years now.
Well, then we need to get you one of these. 9 o'clock
Eastern time. Yeah, I
got to get you one. We got to give a big shout out to Shure for these SM7B amazing podcast mics also.
Yeah.
You know, and so you were just saying, tell everybody to tune in to
my Facebook Live. You don't have to be my Facebook friend because I'm over the friend limit. But on my personal page and the band page, every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I go on live and I play 5 or 6 of my tunes, and then I talk about what's going on. Where, you know, last year was a crazy year of travel, so I talk about, you know, traveling and whatever comes up. People ask questions about tones and stuff like that.
That's great.
Yeah. No matter where I do it, I've done it in airports. Almost did it on a plane once because it was like a late flight. I do it anywhere I can. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So dedication and consistency and everything for your live show. And so tell people now, because there's still a couple more days here at the NAMM Show, can they catch you and your music anywhere at the show for the rest of the time? Yeah,
I'm playing at the Eventide booth tomorrow at 3:30, 12:30 at Liquid Spit, and then tonight is at midnight at the Marriott. And I have
midnight.
I do a cool thing at the show, and then sometimes there's some guests that come up and play, and we have a lot of people up there and stuff like that. And then tomorrow night, I'm a guest at the X Jam with Andy Timmons and Mike Keneally and Travis Larson. It's going to be cool.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'll definitely be there tonight at midnight.
Okay, cool.
So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in to the Sitting In with Thomas Claxton podcast. Nothing but love for the guest, the amazing Larry Mitchell.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.